Welcome, my dear viewer, and thank you for clicking on this video. And since you're here, do you like plumbers? Hard-working people with the odd job of unclogging blocked sinks and exploring the Mushroom Kingdom. I can't get enough of them, but sadly I ran out of super red plumber games to play and I really need to scratch that itch. A Flash game released in 2010. Developed by Radix with music by Mr. Podunkian, Enough Plumbers is a puzzle platform 100% not referencing Mario in the slightest, with the concept of creating clones of plumbers by collecting coins while simultaneously controlling them all at once. Before actually getting more into the game, a little history while focusing on Radix and his website for a bit. Coming from Sydney, Australia, and sometimes living in China as an English teacher, Radix hosted a website called ClickScene, where he posted blogs alongside a multitude of games and projects. I recommend checking out his website if you're interested in game creation, and don't mind the little spice of early internet edge here and there. They are some pretty neat reads I actually enjoyed. On the Wayback Machine though, as sadly the site seems to have been down since 2015. Most of his games were developed for game jams, and Enough Plumbers was one of those games that originated from one. Developed for Click of the Month Club 33, it initially started off as Enough Marios before being expanded later into Enough Plumbers. You can even download Enough Marios. Unfortunately, I could not find or get any footage of Enough Marios as I could not open the game, but doing the positive reception in the comments told me enough that the game was a good hit. Fast forward to May 2010, and the full game had released to very positive reception. Does it still hold up to this day? I'd say yes, and let's find out why. The title screen subtly highlights the clone aspect of the game. Pressing start boots up the level select and yada yada yada, let's just... Level 1 introduces the coin's cloning capabilities and establishes that end flagpole. Every level in this game takes place on one screen, and it's actually really neat how creative a majority of the levels are with this limitation. The background scenery also helps give the game much more visual variety too, even though for the most part the game uses only a single tile set for all of the terrain. Did I forget to mention the controls as well? You only need the arrow keys to flop around all of the clones simultaneously. Nice and simple. Moving on. Level 2 shows off the power-up mechanics, showcasing 3 out of 4 power-ups in the game. The 3 power-ups here are the bolt, soda, and chili. The bolt turns the clone metallic and leaves them with a pathetic jump, but they can break these specific gray blocks and completely bypass a specific button requirement. That'll come later. The soda is basically Mario's pea balloon, but the plumber floats off into the sky forever until it either dies or collects a different power-up. The chili gives a plumber the ability to bypass fire while also murdering their peers on contact. Also off topic and a little random for a second, but this level in my eyes also tells a story in a way. This level explains that not all clones need to reach the end to win. Yet, paying close attention, you stick with one clone across 3 power-ups for the entire level. In the end, he valiantly sacrifices himself for his brother to reach the goal. Or for gamer enough, you don't even have to commit sacrifice for a tragic story. Level 3 introduces the buttons. There are going to be 3 different colors that appear throughout: red, green, and blue. They make their respective colored blocks disappear. The blue buttons will always require 10 clones to activate or something heavy. Huh. There's also this quirk within the game where you can stack plumbers into each other. Very sure this is intentional, and it's the way to go when activating those blue buttons. Level 4 introduces the simple design quirk of holding jump while a coin is being collected. Gives the controls and the puzzles another good sense of depth into it. You also permanently murder your handy tutorial guide. He does not come back. It's the little details that I like. And with that, those 4 levels have established all you need to know about the game. This is where the game truly starts with its puzzle elements. Level 5 is pretty self-explanatory as a puzzle, while level 6 showcases more of a platforming challenge with spamming clones. Now before I move on, I will not be explaining every level in this game. That would get boring, but I'll still mention the majority of them, but only ones I find interesting. Shut up, I just really like this game, okay? But if you are sold on this game's concept and want to figure out all the challenges on your own, you can download Flashpoint for an archived version of the game and play it yourself. Or I can validate my ego by watching through this project at the very end. Before moving on to the rest of the levels I want to discuss, let me appreciate Mr. Podunkian's music as well. That main theme currently in the background plays for 80% of the game. It's fantastic. The way I describe it is a happy teasing run while also sprinkling in some reminders of focus. It is a puzzle game after all. I know my words sound a little strange, but the game's main theme just fits, and I really like tapping my feet to it. The title screen music earlier too is my second favorite. It's very cute and simple with its tune, and it doesn't last long, but in a way it's actually quite comforting. The boss theme and level select menu are also pretty good, but not my favorites. The boss takes third for me though. It feels like it's menacing, but it's also kind of like having a second grader try their best to bully you. It's charming and silly. I like it. the level select. I don't have much to say for it. It fits for what it is, and it basically just does its job, you know? Mr. Podunkin is actually still active online too, currently making a game. Having previously worked on Stardew Valley as well, he's actually planning on releasing his own game later this year, Sunkissed City. Do check them out if you're interested in those like sort of simulator games, you know? I'll link him in the description. Alright, back to Wahoo! Level 9. Strategizing how to move the limited clones to press different buttons. Once a clone is in their respective button place, they can never leave. How fun. Level 12. Good platforming challenge. Also introduces the player to the final power-up in the game. Shrooms. These completely reverse a clone's horizontal movement and are utilized quite a bit in the later levels. It's a really neat mechanic that opens up a lot of potential for level design, and the levels in this game utilize it to the fullest. In here, it's an obstacle alongside a metal bolt. The platforming is actually pretty easy once you remember coin jumping exists, but I like how the power-ups hinder here alongside with a bunch of clone coins being used as a boost for the player. Also, a clone dying with the shrooms has the clone die upwards instead of downwards. That's just a really silly detail I like. Level 14. I don't like this one that much. It can feel tedious with positioning, but it's pretty satisfying once you pull it off, especially with those buttons at the beginning. At least the level provides you with 11 sodas, so you can make one mistake in the very least. Just be wary that an inflated clone can pick up multiple sodas. The inclusion of shrooms at the end is a nice layer of depth added. You don't need to think about the contained inflated clones dying off, but it's still better to do the platforming in one move without turning around to account for the reversed clones. If you put thought in the end, clone stacking and doing those 2 jumps to the goal is the way to go. Level 15. Finding the route was a pretty neat puzzle. And then the precision to pull it off is so annoyingly tight, especially when I gotta deal with the metal power up at the start. It doesn't help that the coin hitboxes are big, like look at this. So platforming to the top again using the coin trail is still tight because you touched the bottom route coins on accident with other clones. This is the level I never got past as a kid. This was why I only made it halfway through the game, and now I remember. Because a Flash game has never made me realize how purely dumb I am. This is the intended route. I had no idea what I was cooking back then or now, but this is so much less frustrating to pull off. It's a good level, I'm just dumb. Level 18. Pretty simple from a puzzle aspect, but realizing the true obstacles here being other clones as a visual distraction was actually pretty cool. Just try to focus on who's the metal one during the second half, and once you press that blue button, ditch him. He can't make the jump alive due to this fireball. It's an interesting little juggling act that looks intimidating at first, but it's really satisfying to actually perform. Level 21. This level puts limitations on the player in a pretty neat way. Routing and performing this puzzle requires you to keep the inflated plumber in this little area, so you can't move left. All the while navigating an enclosed area with another plumber by only moving right alongside the power-ups. Performing and completing this level feels really good. I love it so much. I think this is actually like my favorite level in the entire game. I love the depth and also how it utilizes every single power-up in the game. It's just so good. I love it. Level 25, the last level. Well, the princess is standing there with a suspicious lack of music, so I'm gonna approach her and oh, it's a specific Nintendo employee himself as a turtle. It's probably based off an iconic quote. Figuring this one out took a while, and connecting the hints from trial and error was honestly pretty fun. Miyamoto will shoot magic flames out of his hands that will turn a clone to stone. Had that happen on the bridge, which suddenly shifts downwards, Miyamoto also jumps on that bridge after attacking and launches it downwards. My brain clicked, gotta use coins, buttons, and stone those clones. Sure, there's new gimmicks introduced here, but it's a puzzle game. Use your intuition, figure it out, and then you perform. It takes enough plumbers to weigh down the bridge until Miyamoto finally breaks the bridge and falls into the fire. And then, credits, victory music, mixels. Well, there you have it, my first video game review, and it's a Flash game from 2010 that still has a unique concept that holds up today. Should you play it? Yes. Thought I spoiled too much? It has a sequel that expands upon the concept in more elaborate ways. More power-ups, new gimmicks. Miyamoto also makes a grand return in the boss fight. Both Enough Plumber games are free on Flashpoint. But during the making of this video, it came to my attention that the first game is actually now on Steam. It seems that ClickScene is returning, and I could not be happier. The website's even back! Look at it in all of its glory! Please go support the Steam release of this game. It's only 99 cents, and you won't even have to play the game like this to get good footage. It's still a solid good time. Now, I was actually going to complete the sequel as well in this video, but I cannot progress through the game on Flashpoint sadly because when I win a level, it gets stuck on this screen. I think I had enough of Plumbers for today.